I don't imagine this will be a popular view.
Well, if that's the case, why don't you just stick to the sprinting videos?
Well, because there's more to life than just sprinting.
Yeah, it's bodybuilding.
Oh, there's more to life than just sport.
You little ponce.
Although, the knowledge that you gain from learning how to deal with bullying may help you with your sport.
Okay. I can give you 10 minutes to speak. And I'll give you 50 seconds.
Consecutively or concurrently?
Get on with it. Preach! Testify!
Now, bullying exists on a spectrum of scale, from micro to macro. On this end, you've got the individual. On this end, you've got the country. And there's a difference in how you handle them. You could say different schools, different rules. Different ends, different men's. That's the earliest I've unleashed the spectrum. But this video is focused on how to deal with individual bullying. So where does bullying come from? Well, I think it's a self-esteem issue. If you've got low, loving, nurturing energy, then that means you don't like yourself much. Now that dislike either turns inwards towards you, which is no good because it reduces your self-esteem even further and it spirals downwards, or it turns outwards towards other people, making your problem other people's problem. And the deciding factor as to whether it turns inwards or outwards is confidence. So a bully is someone with low self-esteem who tries to increase their self-esteem by stealing it from others. That's it. It's a robbery issue. Someone got to call the police! Now bullies pick on those that they think are weaker than them because when you're going to rob someone, you look for victims. You don't look for challenges. Basically, they sniff out people they can commit the crime on, not people who won't tolerate that crime. And the crime is self-esteem theft. So how do you deal with it? Okay, let's think less abstract for a second and more concrete. How do you stop someone robbing your stuff? Report it to the authorities? Well, here's a story on that one. Now, this was a few months after I destroyed my back doing track, and I couldn't stand or sit for longer than a few minutes. Man broke into my flat while I'm lying there recuperating, and he robbed me. Came into my bedroom while I was watching TV, looked me in my eyes, my loot in his swag bag, turned tail and ran.
What were you watching? Desperate Housewives?
No. Near naked, I'm hobbling down this glass-ridden street barefoot like John McClane at 2 miles an hour in my boxer shorts, giving it the ooh, ah, ah, ooh, ooh, ooh. My back is completely seized up. I see the guy hightailing it, and then as he looks round and sees my speed, he slows down to a brisk walk and then disappears down an alley. He not only thefted me my possessions, but that night, he robbed me of my sprinting dignity, which I succinctly summed up in the phrase, "You cheeky mother..." Anyway, that's not the point. Even though I wasn't insured, the landlord forced me to report it to the police. 2 coppers came over and asked for descriptions of what was stolen. So I showed them photos, and after 3 minutes of the fastest detective work that I've ever seen, they cracked the case. They decided, because I had photos, I'd robbed my own flat. I said, for what purpose? One said,
to get the insurance.
I said, I'm not insured. The other one said,
well, your plan probably wouldn't work then.
What? My plan? And probably wouldn't. What, you think there's a slither of a chance that an uninsured man's going to get a payout from an insurance company? Yeah, great one. You really cracked this one, Columbo. Anyway, that's not the point. The point is, don't expect the authorities to protect your stuff. At best, they're only going to be there after the fact. Or worse, they're going to blame you.
Wrong. Point is, don't watch TV.
So, how do you stop getting robbed? Now, either you invest in security, or you don't take ownership of anything, because then it can't be stolen. Now, you know that I gravitate to the more peace-loving hippie side of stuff. Reframing. It's all perspective. No mindy. So, Not taking ownership is going to be more in my line of thinking. But not in this case. No, you get security and you lock it up. The concept of never taking ownership of your own self-esteem is like saying your happiness is up for everybody else's grabs. No, you build your self-esteem up like Lego. You're the armed guard, and then you choose who you trade it with. You give it to those who will return it in kind, pound for pound. They're your friends. If they're shortchanging you, they're a lower quality of friend. You watch them. If they're skimming a take, maybe they get clipped. If someone tries to bully you with words, the reinforced steel doors come down around your self-esteem. You put it on lockdown. Even then you go into the vault, try and build some back. Put your goggles on. Get alchemizing. Now, all of this seems fairly reasonable. I think it's the next part that's controversial. Once you've secured your self-esteem, you fire back. You don't ignore it. You see, ignoring it is silent. And in that silence, the bully hears consent and permission. When you're always silent to the negative behaviors of others, you're giving it permission to grow. You see, going back to the original thought, bullies are low on self-esteem, but high on confidence. They're looking for easy victims, not challenges. So when you're quiet or you ignore it, you're easy. When you fire back, you become a challenge. But it's the way that you fire back that counts. You've got to fire back from a position of psychological strength, not fear. You don't want to be wasting time with some argument going back and forth. It's important for your own psychological welfare to say it when you see it. If someone says something that bothers you, call it out, name it, say it. If you think it, but you don't express it, you've just taken the hit to the left bow. It's penetrated the force field. When you vocalize it as an observation, you take its power away. The trouble is, the people who tend to vocalize are trying to control or change the other person. And that's a losing battle. To say it, how you see it, and then move on seems healthy to me. But to moan, to try to affect change, that's a futile strategy and ultimately frustrating. It's the difference between standing in a garden, looking at weeds and then saying,
"Yeah, those are weeds."
And then moving on, rather than saying,
"The weeds."
Meaning, I wish it was a rose bush. With the effort that it would take to transform those weeds into a rose bush, you're quicker just moving on, find another rose bush to look at. And that is where the easily offended make a mistake. You see, we all have different tolerances, and that's fine, because our robustness exists on a spectrum. Let's say on one end, you have those that say nothing when they're put upon, and on the other end, you've got those that expect the entire world to change for them. I reckon you say something because it outlines your boundary, rather than expecting others to change because of it. And if the bullying is physical, as in other people physically moving into your space, then you go build yourself up physically, and then you fire back. A line must be drawn, and we are all responsible to ourselves to draw that line. If you had to draw a line, you know, with one of those Bond lasers, would you cut off your own feet just so you took up less space? You take up the space you take, and you defend that space. No more, but no less. If someone tries to force their way into your space, be prepared for them to lose something. Now, I know that this isn't PC or cool at the moment, but it is my experience that if you do not draw that line physically and psychologically, and then be willing to defend the line that you have drawn, you will find yourself to be a victim of bullying. And there's a reason why. This isn't new. Bullies are created because they are also being bullied. Bullied elsewhere by others. When everyone just ignores bullies, we allow bullying to escalate. And if you don't deal with bullies, you will start bullying 100% of the time. Well, I know what you're thinking. There's some meek guy or girl in an office somewhere being bullied, wouldn't say boo to a goose. I'd say, while they're not bullying anybody outwardly, they're bullying themselves inwardly. And that inward bullying will make it more difficult for them to truly love others because they will lack the currency in the exchange. And that's how, if everyone loves themselves first and challenges bullies, you solve bullying. Hence, occasionally, I'll reply to a rude comment and point out the rudeness, just to guard the boundary. Because that online comment section gives people a lot more confidence than they would have in real life. They still have that low self-esteem, but it feels good to attack someone else because the fear of reprisal isn't there. You know, like getting blasted in the face, which would normally happen if you said it in real life. But it's important at times just to call it out, randomly, when you feel like it, just to mark the line. Not to change them because, well, they're irrelevant, but to remember to defend the line. You fortify your self-esteem because it's valuable and worth defending so that you can love others.
Oh, shut it. Time's up. Look, bullying's brilliant. Only the strong survive. And I counter all your points with this quote.
Ha! Gay!
I hope this helps. If this has made you feel a little happier, return the favour by busting me a thumbs up, because let me tell you something.
Busting makes me feel good.
Have your say in the comments, bae.
Where's my sprinting video?
I'm drawing a line. You get it when I'm goddamn good and ready. You get it next week, I promise. And if you like my vibe, please subscribe. Woo! Woo!